I hate scams. I genuinely loathe them to my very core. And we all know how Oath, Chronicles of Elyria, DreamWorld, and Earth 2 have been scamming everyone in the community over the course of the last year, right? Those games have been covered to death by this point, and rightfully so. This, however, is perhaps one of the largest scams that I have ever seen in the entire life of this channel. This company, these people are scamming players out of their money by advertising a lie. And we're here today to talk about that. Now, if you want to go ahead and stay up to date with this game, this type of news, scams, or anything pertaining to our channel, go down, click that subscribe button, and join our community. So, Evertale is actually an RPG that I have done a dedicated video on. It has been receiving a lot of attention recently due to the advertising campaigns that the company, the team behind the game, have been running. And while I personally welcome the extra attention, it is entirely for the wrong reason. And honestly, it is instances like this that prevent us from being able to trust companies that are working on games like this. Now, let's take a moment here and look at just one of these advertisements in question. So this was actually uploaded to Junkyard Joe's YouTube channel. I urge you guys to go ahead and check that out on his channel, or his channel out generally. But just take a look at this. Does this not look like a Pokemon game? Like very heavily inspired by Pokemon, right? And it's dark, it's gritty, it's gory. It just, that right there was the advertisement. That was just one of multiple advertisements that have been uploaded to Junkyard Joe's channel. Now, what are companies even thinking when creating ads like the absolute garbage like this? Do you guys want to see what actual footage of the game looks like? We did a dedicated video on this game, and as you can tell, this game looks absolutely nothing like what is being advertised. Your character looks completely different. The environments that you can move around look entirely different. The combat looks nothing like what is being advertised. Nothing about this game looks at all even remotely similar to what they are showing us, what they are selling us. Now, other than being capable of like leveling up a couple different monsters, there is pretty much no similarity between these two games. There's absolutely nothing connecting the two. Not the combat, not the graphical style, not the aesthetic look and feel of the game itself. They're advertising this game as some type of deep psychological horror game, but the reality of it is just your typical waifu collector, monster collector, gacha game with really nothing at all, no substance whatsoever, setting itself apart from pretty much any other gacha waifu collector in the genre. And I know this will probably anger some of you Evertale fans out there, but at the end of the day, this game isn't even really that good. There are plenty of games that run with this formula and have created a substantially better product, which actually may be part of the reason why they are pushing out advertising campaigns like this, because you know, they need to trick people into actually playing their game, right? Now, this is not the first time this has happened. This will definitely not be the last time this happens. I've seen it occurring more and more frequently recently, but I have never seen it happen for a game that requires an actual purchase. And this was brought to my attention by multiple different people in the comment section of my Evertale video, because they were telling me that the game that I was showing did not look like the game that was displayed in the trailers, and that I got the game name wrong because what they believed was Evertale was not what we were showing in our video. And therefore they were calling me out, saying that I was misrepresenting what the game was, when I literally recorded that footage from my phone. Now, admittedly, I'm not really all that shocked that companies are willing to go about advertising their games like this at the expense of their reputation. I am, however, highly disgusted by it, and the fact that they are making this look and feel like a Pokemon game, playing off of the popularity, off of the nostalgia of the Pokemon IP to benefit themselves and their game. But what shocks me more than almost any other part of this entire story is the fact that nobody is really even covering it. Literally, this scam is getting absolutely no attention whatsoever. I don't know if that's just because we have kind of grown numb to this and it has just gotten to a point where we kind of expect this to happen. But Evertale is not a free game. This game requires you actively pay to purchase and play it. What this means is that they are attempting to sell you one thing when in reality you are getting another thing entirely. Now, as an example here, how would you personally feel if you went and you ordered a cheeseburger and what you were presented with was just 2 burger buns? No patty, no cheese, nothing inside. You'd feel cheated, right? And you would either want to be reimbursed for what you did not receive, or for them to go back and give you what you paid for. And this is the very same exact thing that is going on right here. People are going into this, they are purchasing this game with the illusion of it being a dark, gritty, gory thriller Pokemon RPG because they are actively advertising it as such, and it just isn't. Could you imagine if Square Enix went ahead here and advertised Final Fantasy XIV by using Final Fantasy 15, or Final Fantasy XIV by using Final Fantasy 16's graphic engine? People would be livid. Players would riot. Square Enix would never recover from that. This is a scam. This is perhaps the largest scam that I have seen in recent memory. They are abusing your money here, the players' money that they use to purchase this game, to purchase advertising, to further incentivize players to purchase the game and continue funding this lie and this scam, all in an effort to just earn more money at everyone else's expense. And as I noted, this game isn't even bad. Like, yeah, it's not very good, but this should speak for itself. You shouldn't need to trick people into playing your game, especially with how many people have downloaded and played it and how many positive reviews this game has gotten. Not only is this company advertising their game like this, a fully functional game at that, but this type of advertising is being done by a company that has had this game live for years, that has had games live for years, and has an established history in the genre. Like, seriously, Evertale has millions of installs, has over 1/3 of a million reviews on Google alone, totaling a 4.3 star rating. Why do they need to resort to tricking people into buying, downloading, installing, and then ultimately not playing their game? It's just wrong. It is just wrong on so many levels. Developers and publishers alike, take note, this is not how you develop, how you build a long-term, long-lasting game. This is not how you build a long-term successful company. This is how you tarnish your reputation and the reputation of your game. What you want is real, organic growth. And I know this is going to be shocking to all of you watching, all of the developers, all of the publishers out there right now, but how you achieve positive organic growth for your game and your company is by actually making a good one that people want to play and want to invest their time and money into. You don't need to use all these elaborate scams to get people to pay you money. You just need to create a product that people want to pay money for. And I know that a lot of developers and publishers and indie this is something that a lot of people seem to be struggling with. Now, at the end of the game, I'm not here to criticize Evertale as a game. It was not a game that I personally enjoyed, but just because I don't enjoy a game does not mean that it is inherently a bad game, because it really is not anything terrible. I've played bad games and this is not one of them. All I'm here to do is to bring to light this scam, this attempt at getting players to play and purchase something that just isn't real. And at the end of the day, is your typical pay to advance, pay to win gotcha game. This should not be acceptable. We should never get to a point where we can in any way accept something like this. And when companies begin to realize that we are no longer receptive of practices like this, they will be significantly less inclined to go about employing them. So guys, just be careful out there, especially when it comes to downloading games purely based off of their trailers. Look around and find real, legitimate gameplay of the game before you go about purchasing it. Trailers are very, very misleading. And this in specific is not just your typical instance of when you go about downloading a free game, finding out you didn't like it, and then just deleting it from your device. This is something that you genuinely spent money on. So do your due diligence, do not be scammed, and do not be taken advantage of.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it. Yeah, all hard work's gonna be worth it. Ooh,